Oh, hey guys, what's up? Didn't see you over there. Welcome to another show. Today we're going to talk about manta rays versus stingrays. Are mantas dangerous? I can't tell you how many times people have asked me on my Instagram if manta rays are dangerous, if they have stingers, if they'll mess you up. Will you get Steve Irwin to buy a manta ray? Nah, son, nah. It's time for a showdown between manta rays and stingrays. Let's find out what makes these two kinds of animals so different and so special. Both of them are so ridiculously awesome. Let's start with their looks. Stingrays are more like pancakes that like to hide on the bottom of the ocean. Manta rays are just giant underwater blankets. The biggest ones can reach about 29 feet in length, which is crazy. When I went to the Socorro Islands a few years ago, I actually put a couple of freaking lasers on my camera to try to measure how big the mantas are. Because in theory, if you have two lasers that are a foot apart and they're both shooting perfectly forward, you can use that as a measurement to get an approximation of how big the mantas are. With my very scientific measuring protocols, I estimated that these ones were about 22, 23 feet in length, with the biggest ones. Now you might be wondering, can manta rays sting you? Nope, they can't sting because they don't have a stinger. So unless you give them a stinger to use on you, you're not gonna get stung by a manta. But if you spot a stealthy looking pancake on the bottom of the ocean, don't get too close. These ones can sting you if they feel threatened. Most people who get stung by stingrays accidentally step on them. So it's best if you're walking around in shallow water where there might be stingrays to shuffle your feet while you're walking, kind of kicking the sand. Now let's talk a bit about anatomy. Anatomy class, eh? You got it. Manta rays are giant. They're so freaking big. Next to a diver, it's kind of insane. When you're swimming with them, sometimes there'll just be a giant shadow that comes over you, and you'll look up and it's a cuddly little friendly manta ray, or a cuddly giant manta ray. Manta rays are known to hover over divers to feel the bubbles coming up underneath their bellies. They might get a little tickle about it, I don't know, it's like a spa day for the manta ray. I'm not really sure why they do this, but they definitely seem to like it. One of my dives in Socorro Islands, the manta ray actually stopped right over me, started coming down, and I was close to the bottom, and I was worried that the manta ray was just gonna squish me into the seafloor because it was so obsessed with my bubbles. That didn't happen, and it was a cool experience, but something to remember. Another way to recognize a manta ray is because it's cephalic fins. These cephalic fins are what the manta ray uses to feed. They can actually wind these things up or unwind them, so when they're traveling they'll have them wound up kind of like corkscrews, and then when they're feeding they'll come out, and this helps them push the plankton and the krill or whatever they're feeding on into their mouths. And no, like I said, manta rays do not have stingers. There's no stinger on that beautiful long skinny snake-like tail. Stingrays on the other hand do have the stingers, and there's so many different types of stingrays. Most of them live on the seafloor, some of them are pelagic, some of them live in freshwater, some in salt water. There's a million different types. Well, more like 200 and something. There's a lot. Now for the next part, let's talk about the species. So manta ray, there's only two types of species. There's reef mantas and giant oceanic mantas. With these, there's also color morphs. There's all black manta rays, and then there's more traditional white and black manta rays that use counter shading. Counter shading is when an animal is light on the bottom and dark on the top, so that if something is looking down at it, it blends in better with the seafloor, or if they're looking up at it, it blends in better with the surface of the water. Counter shading, remember. Stingrays, on the other hand, they're like that friend that has way too many hobbies. These come from small to big, fat to skinny, freshwater, saltwater. You can find them in rivers. You can find them in lakes. You can find them in the deep ocean. You can find them in the open ocean, in the pelagic water. There's a lot of different stingrays who occupy a lot of different niches in the ecosystems. Some of them have spots. Some of them are black, some of them are white, some of them have stripes. They're kind of all over the place. There's even some stingrays that are electric. That's right, they're electrified. They'll give you a shock, they'll give you a zap. They're like little lightning bolts swimming under the water there. It's pretty crazy. Depending on the species of electric ray, they can zap with up to 220 volts of electricity. Mind-blowing, I know. They use this to stun prey or to scare you, hurt you, get rid of you, tell you to leave them alone, dude. They're neat. When it comes to dining, both of these two animals have very different feeding techniques. Manta rays use their cephalic fins to just gulp in lots of water, and then they scrape out the plankton in their gill rakers and eat that. So when a manta is coming around with its mouth wide open, that's what it's doing. It's scooping up these animals. It's really cool. Sometimes they'll do barrel rolls where they're just rolling and dancing. Sometimes I've had a couple private dances, just me and the manta ray, you know, just enjoying each other's company. Stingrays, on the other hand, they usually like a nice crunchy meal. A lot of them use their little nose and their mouth that's on the bottom of their body to find crustaceans in the sand and gobble them up. They might be eating clams, they might be eating crabs, who knows? But they like a lot of different things, and every type of stingray has a specialty of what they prefer to snack on or to dine on for a nice dinner. Now here's a few fun facts about stingrays and manta rays. Manta rays have the biggest brain of any fish. I could believe it because it really seems like you're vibing with them when you're down there. Like you guys are on the same wavelength, you're thinking the same things. You're thinking, hey, I want to blow some bubbles and maybe that manta ray will come get a bubble bath. And that manta is thinking, man, I could really use a spa day, maybe I'll come and get some bubbles. So you can tell that they're very intelligent that way. Another cool fact is that stingrays give birth to live babies. So there's no eggs. These little tiny stingrays, they just come out fully formed, born into the ocean like little aliens. Spawn of the stingray, coming out to explore the sea. Fun fact number 3, manta rays can barrel roll when they're feeding. Super neat, super cool. Both manta rays and stingrays are really important for the health of the oceans. Manta rays, which are gobbling up so much plankton at all times, help balance the levels of plankton in the water. Manta rays also travel long distances and can spread nutrients and biodiversity across wide swaths of the sea. These gentle giants face a lot of challenges from humans. Overfishing, habitat loss, even climate change are threats facing manta rays and stingrays. Manta rays are often caught as bycatch, or even worse, they're sometimes harvested for their gill rakers, which are used as traditional medicine in some cultures. Medicine that doesn't even work. Because of these threats, manta rays are endangered and their populations are decreasing. So together we really need to work to help preserve the populations of mantas that we still have. We can't talk about stingrays or manta rays without mentioning Steve Irwin. Rest in peace, you legend. Steve did more for wildlife and animals than almost any other person ever. His love for animals went beyond bounds, and he was an absolute inspiration. What happened to Steve Irwin was a freak accident, and it's so sad, but it's no reason to be afraid of stingrays or manta rays. Both of these animals are so amazing and unique. So next time you're in the ocean, you'll know you have nothing to fear from manta rays, and stingrays are shy and not dangerous unless you provoke them or step on one. So swim safely, have fun, and I'll see you underwater. Hope you guys liked that one. If you've seen stingrays or manta rays while you're swimming, scuba diving, surfing, paddleboarding, whatever it might be, let me know below. Please subscribe, like, share this with your friends. It really helps a lot and it means a lot. Thank you so much for watching, and peace!